And for so long, the Christian tradition has deemed her a mistress. And unfortunately, the Islamic tradition has failed to exalt her. And so, in my best attempts, I bring you the story of Hagar alayhi salam. I was relaxing on my throne when my house servant told me that my father, Pharaoh, gave my hand to some holy man named Abraham. I wasn't gonna say yes. These pyramid dudes are not my type. But there was this humble glow in his almond eyes when he looked at me. He was all like, I'm just flesh and bone like you, but God favored and chose through his servants and paired us into. My heart, he said, was aching for a child, and the heavens answered with the princess of the Nile. Ooh! How could I say no? Plus, poets are the best lovers. So I let him lift my veil, and a blush arose like desert dawn. Months bloomed into a first breath song, a newborn's cry. We name him Ismael, meaning God has heard. Our son's lunar cheeks framed by raven black curls, eyes widened and bright and rounded like pearls. Then, in the last third of night, as desert winds clashed against the teepee, a commandment descended. Ismael was nestled on my chest, drinking from the milky rivers from the sons of my breast. His eyes rubbed red with sand, all timid and soft. Abraham looked over, his face washed out by the moon, tearing the blanket of darkened sky. Did Allah tell him to do this? His silence wilted the last of life in the desolate hollow of the desert's jaw. In the dusty horizon between light and flesh, I went running, following the echoing cry of my parched and bone-dry son, running crescents between two mountains, Safa and Marwa, dune upon dune to the rigid rhythm of my heart's drum, the soles of my feet, scorn, bleeding, and torn, I dared not to shed the last of my body's water to tears, for the well of despair had already dried in the light of faith. Ya Hayy, Ya Hayy, Ya Hayy. Every weeping cry of this plea only leaves our bodies more thirsty. There is a drought, but I doubt that your mercy would ever curse me. So Lord, Lord, Allah, show me that you hear your desperate devotee. Then, on the seventh run, just as the last drop of sweat turned to steam, a cool breeze blew through my clothing seams. It seemed a flicker of light descending from paradise like a fallen star. Angel Jibril's wing, hung by heat, struck the sand beneath baby Ismael's feet, gushing forth a fountain of the Nile, shimmering like a mirage. In half belief, I drew near, scooped my palms into a prayer, dug a well, and finally, with joy, I could cry, Ismael, Ismael, has heard. Allah has heard us. It was months later that Abraham came searching, drawn like the tide to his family's moon, his back a weary arc cresting the final dune. It was there, by the water's gushing song, that his beard was kissed silver from the stream, long, whitened and curled like a waterfall. It was there Abraham stood dumbfounded, that our once cracked heels now softened. Abraham awaited for the mirage to fade, but this time it did not.